That's right. It's another late night and time for another reach into the Just Giggle It grab bag. And tonight we're pulling out. Oh my lord, I thought we were reaching the end of the bag, and look, there's new stuff on top here. Wow. Oh my goodness, and it's Batman related. How quaint. Batman auditioning for Saturday Night Live. Wow. What do you know? Tiki, we have a new sketch. What do you think?
I think that Sagar is very sad, Dragon. He's like, but they announced my season and everything.
There's the tear kind of flowing through the beard.
That's what I'm saying, Dragon. It's like we keep messing with Sagar, man.
It's not our fault.
Like Katie Garland didn't pick you, Sagar. I'm sorry. She picked Josh instead.
Which shocked the heck out of me.
Oh god. Anyways, yes, we would have started the season of Sagar if it weren't for Just Giggle It releasing a new sketch literally like right after I get home from work. Batman auditioning for Saturday Night Live. So Dragon, not only is it a new Just Giggle It sketch, and we have a tendency to review new Just Giggle It sketches hot off the presses, especially if they do them the night that we are recording. But Dragon, it's a Batman sketch, and I want you to tell the folks why that's exciting in the context of the Just Giggle It channel.
Well, for those who may be uninitiated, let me what?
I just went woo like I'm at a rock concert. Go ahead.
For those who may not be aware, to the uninitiated, there exists a series unlike any other. There exists a series that you can find on Just Giggle It, for convenience's sake here, called Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the Real World. Essentially, it's, as you can probably surmise, involves the Joker and Harley Quinn, but wonderfully as you know them. Basically, imagine all the best versions of the Joker. Very animated series influence in Harley Quinn, a little bit of animated series, a little bit of Suicide Squad, a little bit of...
It's not going to win an Oscar because it's not reinventing the wheel like Joaquin Phoenix, which is getting Oscar hype right now.
That's a
But you know what?
though.
It would probably win like a really, really good, like close to the best cosplay contest.
Sure. Regardless, the point being, folks, if you want to see these characters realized as the way you like when you read the books and when you watch them just kind of brought to life, when you play the Arkham games, you want to see a version of like, oh my god, these are these characters brought to life just as you know them, not specifically attached to one thing, but just kind of like the best, kind of a slathering of the best of, in a really new setting. Like, we're going to take these characters as you know and put them in L.A. and I'm getting a roommate. It's not just be a cutesy thing of, oh look, Joker and Harley Quinn are kind of messing with the roommate in L.A. It's not just that, folks. They've gone to L.A. to reinvent themselves, to get away from the rut that they kind of found themselves in Gotham. It's a lot of fun. You got a lot of great players from JGI, such as the wonderful and talented Piper Henson, as well as the immensely talented Alexander Poncio and Alex Poncio. And folks, you're gonna watch episode 1. You're gonna become addicted to it. You're gonna watch it all the way to 5. And you're gonna get to the end of 5, and you're gonna say, "Where has this been all my life? At last I found you, but I need episode 6. Where? Oh, where is episode 6?" Well, folks, I'm here to tell you, Tiki and I, we've seen the inside of Joshua Thomas's vast and copious Prince vault, subterranean as it is.
It was very comfortable, Dragon. There was like a mini version of the Star Wars cantina in there, so you could just pop in and get a drink if you wanted to.
Yep. Really cozy. It really is kind of like in a hidden fort sort of a way, only it's a subterranean vault somewhere. Point being, there's like a curtained off, kind of closed off area where it basically says you're working on new sketches, and another side of it that's the much more exciting side is more Harley Quinn and Joker. And folks, I've seen a glimpse into that one. I've seen that episode 6 is essentially in a film canister waiting for release. We just need to get episode 5 up to 1 million views. It's already more than halfway there. It's roughly past the. I want to say it's past the 600. The 600,000 point. We're just going to get it to 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, take my word for it. Episode 6, we kind of had a tease. There's a trailer for it. Check it out. If you need something to satiate you for the time being, looking at that trailer alone, you're going to say, oh my god, I have to see what happens now. I have to see what the next episode's going to entail. And folks, to tease the Gilda Lily and just kind of tease a little bit more, I've seen the script for episodes. We've all had the script. I shouldn't say I've seen it, but we've had it read to us in an event. He hasn't. I have. I know like a little bit of episode 7, and basically I'm hyping up the way I hyped up Deadpool way back when I read the script years, like over 7 years back, folks. Let me tell you this. Episode 7. Harley Quinn and Joker versus the Real World is going to be the best episode of the series so far. Every episode keeps getting better. Episode 5 is my favorite so far. I can only imagine that 6 might usurp that. And 7 so far blew me out of the water. And I didn't even get the whole thing. We don't even have an ending on that one. Of course, only in the script phase. Things are bound to change in the sea. It's not even fully realized in any sense of the word. You're going to be blown away by it. You're going to be saying, oh my God, it's one of the most beautiful kind of takes on the Joker you've seen by someone who's not Paul Dini, essentially. It's something that make Paul Dini cry. In other words, Paul Dini, one could say, if he ever met Joshua Thomas after watching
Dragon, don't make me do it. Don't make me do it.
After watching episode 7.
Oh God.
Once it's fully realized,
folks, our
Paul
number
Dini,
one running joke. Here we go. Brace yourselves.
Paul Dini might say in reference to Joshua Thomas that he's
proud of his boy. He's proud of this young man that he's never met in his life.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Point being, folks, I haven't seen Joker writing as on point since Paul Dini writing the Joker way back when. It's that solid, that strong a writing style, and just that strong, just a take on these characters in a new setting you haven't seen before. So watch episode 5, get it to 2 million views. More importantly, share it. Get a buzz aplenty. Maybe buy a shirt with Harley Quinn the Joker versus the Real World on the Just Giggle website. Who knows?
It's funny you mentioned that, Dragon, because I am actually in preparing for my trip. I am going to purchase myself a Just Giggle It Joker Freak ? Shirt. And the cool thing about this, Dragon, just some more, pointless self-promotion here, is that you can actually customize the color of this shirt.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm sitting here right now trying to decide if I want to go with a fuchsia to match the purple, or if I want to kind of go a more deep red to kind of match the the new Joaquin Phoenix look. My God, Dragon, it sounds like we're like a real life podcast with all these promotions.
Yep. Anywho,
I think I'm going to go with a nice navy. I think the navy matches the Joker's background quite well.
Navy?
Yeah, like navy blue.
Well, yeah, it's navy blue.
Yeah. Anyways.
Anywho. So, the point being, check out Harley Quinn the Joker versus the Real World, and of course, why are we bringing it up? Because we're talking about Batman this evening on Just Giggle. It's such a rare opportunity. Rarely do you see the Batman pop up. One of the rules, kind of like the no tights, no flight rule, if you go by Smallville standards for Harley Quinn and the Joker, is that you won't see Batman for a long while on that show, probably till the very end, or the very end of a season or the series as a whole. So this is a big thing for JJ to really kind of tease something in relation to Batman, the man versus Batman via the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
So thoughts?
Yeah, this is Dragon, this is pretty much, it's an interesting, it's a funny premise, but I don't think it goes beyond just being a funny premise. This is one of those sketches that feels maybe a little bit on the incomplete side, where it's just they're just getting into costume and they're just like, all right, let's just have fun with this character for a couple minutes and
This definitely feels like a warm-up sketch. Like they're getting ready for the big guy stuff coming up.
Yeah. So I like it. I do think that it is interesting to see the channel's first take on Batman. That's definitely pretty cool. But I will say some of the impressions land better than others, like any demo reel.
That is true.
All right.
So yeah, this was written, directed, and directed in the loose sense, because really it's more like performed by Joshua Thomas, but the camera's aimed at him, so there's a little bit of directing going on. Point being, it's written, directed, and edited by Joshua Thomas. So again, literally we've literalized the man of many hats, in this case wigs and hats. So we kind of actualized that in this one. Pretty much the cell line of this is the Dark Knight tries his hand at comedy and impressions as he auditions for one of the most coveted spots on the grand stage of SNL. So I don't want to get I don't want to talk out of school here, but let me put it to you this way. Joshua Thomas, basically this is Joshua Thomas doing impressions within an impression, which is very difficult to do, by the way. Which is something that when it's pulled off tremendously well. And we do that here, and of course, it also parallels. All I'm going to say on is that this parallels some SNL exploits of late in relation to the Just Giggle It crew. I'll say that much. So
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
point is there's a little bit of life imitating art in this. I'd imagine maybe fuel for the fire of all the things like we're doing auditions for SNL, but also this is kind of based. I imagine this is based on something that SNL actually does. I've seen clips of this where the modern day SNL stuff. What they'll do, Tiki. I don't know if you've seen any of this. They will have like impressions for like a new movie coming out, where basically it's like SNL auditions for Star Wars. And you have like all sorts of the SNL players auditioning for Star Wars characters.
Oh yeah, I have seen this. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Of course, just to set the tone here, Dragon and I, we really we respect SNL from back in the day. We've always made the pitch from the beginning of the grab bag, where Just Giggle It is basically pulling off what SNL should be pulling off in this day and age with comedy sketches. Like they are probably the best comedy sketch show on YouTube, from what I can tell and from what we've seen. And so, yeah, Just Giggle It is very much kind of filling the void where, just suffice to say, among other things, SNL has gotten too political. But I think even before the politics, it was just a question of consistency with SNL. And so, yeah, we'll have to see going forward what SNL does to reinvent itself, because it's certainly done it before. But in the meantime, we've got this sketch to kind of lampoon the process.
Absolutely. And again, probably borrowing from kind of some of those audition sketches, I'd imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So probably a little bit of that, a little bit of like maybe what the act made from like from a different perspective, what the audition process is like, and just kind of basically, I think at the end of the day, the big takeaway is that even Batman is intimidated by the SNL audition process. I think at the end of the day, I think it's basically it's a question like of all characters, why do it as Batman? Because basically, you need a character doing an impression of another character. And we know Joshua Downs. There's some impressions that he does far superior to Batman. Nick Cage being one of them. I'm sure he could have rolled any other dominant impression doing impressions of others. Sure, he could have. It might have been even more difficult for all we know. But again, I think the point is like this is going to be an imperfect audition process. So therefore,
yeah,
kind of mixing a few things there, and also just kind of like saying even the best of the best, that is the character of Batman, has trouble with this. I'll admit though, a big thing this has going against it. I don't think this helps this. I can't. When you call this a sketch, or more just like kind of a. I think it's that.
I really, yeah, that's a good question. I really don't. I have a hard time considering it a sketch, Dragon. It's more of like an improv exercise. You know what I mean?
I mean, it really. I know it comes across. We had a very small glimpse of how this was shot at the end of this during the kind of the subscriber tag, and it looks like it's very much improv from start to finish. If I were to gauge it at all, but I don't know. It's I don't know if it's like maybe this is more like a skit than a sketch. I don't know. It's just it's kind of like it's a video too. It's kind of an impression-a-thon, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, yeah. So I guess I guess just firing into it then.
Okay, let's go. So, yeah, so Batman shows up with his bag full of props and costumes. Wearing a very basic like black tracksuit.
So let me I'll break this down for a second here. So basically,
Okay.
Batman played by Joshua Thomas. Oh, I remember what I was getting at too. So as we get into this, so a big thing this sketch might have going against it too is that again, as we mentioned with Harley Quinn and the Joker, a very popular thing on Just Giggle It, and a show where again people are salivating. Many times are salivating for Batman on that show. Some people don't fully get the conceit of okay, we're going to build the Batman. It's not really Batman's show. Some people are like, when's Batman going to show up? Are we going to do Batgirl? Are we going to do all this stuff? And like, when are we going to see all like the landmark? We're going to see the other iconic characters in the show.
To quote Ralph the Movie Maker, can you review the movie Hannah from 2011? Anyways.
And my point is,
people out there get that reference.
So I think a big thing, like how this might strike a few people, is that again, people have been waiting for Batman on that one specific show, and they finally get kind of a taste of Batman, but it's a much more farcical version of Batman. I think
right.
Myself partially included, because look, I know they're going for a farcical Batman. So I'm not expecting. I'm hoping the end Batman that they do use is a little bit more serious and a little bit more actually Batman than this. But we'll see. At the very least, look, nothing against Joshua Thomas's Batman, but you know what? If he's gonna play it like this, I would prefer like a Brian Wiley as Batman and Harley Quinn the Joker, or I don't know, Jesse McBride personally.
Ooh,
Oh,
McBride would be. Oh, he'd be a terrific Batman
I
slash
want
Bruce
McBride
Wayne.
Batman so much. Either McBride or personally McBride or Brian Weil. I know they've been kind of out of the fold for a while, but if they could get him back though for one role, for a brief role at the very end. I mean, this is like years
Right,
off probably,
right.
but the very end, that's who I'd go for. Or again, we'll see. No.
All
Maybe,
right.
hey, maybe even Frank again, the Corey Oldnick. I don't know. He could,
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
be kind of ironic. The guy that got killed, way in that series in some way, shape, or form.
It could be a nice bookend.
Yeah.
A
Anyway,
bookend of death and destruction.
so points. Yeah, we like the first image of this like Batman just wearing all black, and my initial instinct was, oh man, that's the this is getting back to Just Giggle It's issue. I misread this. So initially, I was thinking, oh, it's Just Giggle It, kind of going back to the roots of like, oh man, it's a kind of a Just Giggle It on a
Like
budget where we have.
you thought this was their actual attempt at a legit Batman costume.
Well, there was no cape, so I didn't really think that. What I'm saying is, initially, I guess I kind of thought like, well, there's no real bat suit at all there, so he's just wearing all black, and they would use the crappy, basically use the crappy mass-produced Batman Begins cowl, and I know this cowl because I have this cowl, my friend. I have this cowl. Believe me, I'm all too familiar with this cowl. It's like, oh man, it's Just giggling on a budget. I can't fault him for it because I mean, again, working with what they have, I can't fault anyone for that. And Just Giggle in the past, sometimes it's played better than other times, and usually the performance and everything makes up for that. This case, well, not so much. But again, Sunnyside, what I think they're going for here is that again, farcical Batman. More importantly, Batman's wearing all blacks because in the theater as well as I would imagine maybe some auditions you would wear all black, just kind of like for simplicity's sake when they shoot you and stuff. I don't know.
Makes sense.
I know they do that in theater. I don't know if they do that during auditions. So that's the only logical reason. Like, why is Batman just wearing this all black getup? It's not a bat suit at all. Where okay, I guess that makes sense. Either that or budget. So both maybe. Anywho, all right. All right, so, let's see. So basically, yeah. So he's auditioning for SNL. He's just coming in there, and of course, Joshua Thomas is very much doing. He's just kind of doing the classic, and this thing that kind of was a little mixed for me, doing the Bat voice. You know, just kind of 8 to 10 years old at this point. We're like, yeah, we've kind of seen all we've seen. A lot of people just putting on the.
This used to be super funny and original back in the day, but now it's a little stale.
Yeah.
That being said, like I said, there are a couple really funny impressions in here, so there is some gold to glean in this one.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a diamond in the rough. Like you kind of have to mine for it, sort of gold.
Yeah. Let me just address it now, so we can just get into like the positives of the impressions and stuff.
Okay.
All right. So just want to get it out of the way. So again, I think there's a tightrope of a premise with this. Okay, the tightrope of the premise is that we're kind of teetering off of now and again. So I can't say it's like bad, but I am saying there's a tightrope here where this is the polar opposite of what you and we've been spoiled with Just Giggle It many a time. Rarely have we ever had like a sketch that doesn't deliver. And I'm not saying this doesn't deliver, but I am saying this is kind of leaning towards that direction. This is the polar opposite of what Just Giggle It is kind of famed and lauded for, where they do things we haven't seen before in comedy, which is why they're kind of the new SNL, as the way we
exactly.
See it.
Yeah.
And this is a takeoff. Again, it's a little bit of a takeoff of the SNL audition sketches, which again is a point in its favor. And I get what they're doing. I get what their heads at, and I can commend them for again doing kind of something very similar to what they're doing. Their only difference is they have the benefit of like they're doing a full-on audition. They're in costume and everything. They're doing like they have like the full ball of wax going for them. There was like, okay, it's an actual impression. Like Bill Hader doing Yoda. That's pretty funny. Okay, like that's what I'm talking about. Where this is just okay. It's basically Batman with a bag full of wigs. But again, they're trying to portray it as the sad and desperate actor, just trying to do an audition where he's just bringing props and
well, you know what? Okay, you know what I found fun about that premise is that Batman definitely is an actor. You know what I mean? Like that he lives in theatricality,
Mm-hmm. And deception.
So I did kind of pick up on like that sort of desperation of like, maybe this is just hypothetically speaking, maybe Batman cleaned up the streets a little too much and he's just trying to do something, with an area of creativity in it and theatricality and acting. He's like trying to get into acting, but of course he's been devoted to this one role for so long that he's struggling with it. I don't know, Dragon. That's
maybe basically it's a little more in line with like a Will Arnett Batman. It's a little more in line with like Batman the Hobbyist.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like it's like now we're not really playing it like what I would imagine Just Giggle. I'm not saying they should have done this. I'm not trying to say they should have done it this way. But I'm saying like the kind of stuff we expect from Just Giggle, like maybe you have like a Batman who's playing it straight, trying to do something ridiculous. Where this Batman is not necessarily playing it straight. you know?
Mhm.
Again, it's the kind of plain farcical, and that's the thing. I've seen this so many times with that very same Cal. So many other times where, okay, it's Batman doing something silly and someone putting on the Bat voice. Where it's like we're missing the X factor that we're so used to with JGI and the sketches where we're cranking up to 11. Here we don't do that. The one thing that it has going for is that the selection of impressions is that's the unique part of it for me. The selection of certain impressions, like, okay, Batman doing these impressions, but again, some of them deliver more than others.
Yeah, and honestly, the first one really, to me, didn't deliver. Like, it kind of starts off on an awkward note.
Here's the
Maybe
thing.
that's the point, that it starts off on an awkward note.
Because I think overall it's supposed to be a bombed audition. I think that basically there's a certain impression we're going to get to. It feels like, okay, we're definitely saying this is a bombed audition, but some impressions, again, just the
I
selection of
didn't
which.
get a Bond audition.
No, bombed. Like, like they basically.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. It absolutely is a bombed audition. Yes, you're right about that.
Like certain impressions towards the end, like indicate that okay, he is like pure desperation on the actor against the universe. Like anyone auditioning for SNL, even Jim Carrey auditioned for SNL and it turned up disastrous. The thing happens to everybody. Of course, when he auditioned for SNL, a man jumped from the top of the building, which is a bad omen. So anyway, Jim and Andy, reservoir of very awesome information. Anyway. Sorry, getting back on point here. But I'm saying, you know what's funny though? I kind of like the first impression, not the impression itself. I guess I just love the pool. That's what I'm saying. I love the pools more than personally the impressions. I think the impressions all are kind of again with the Bat voice. We kind of, I think he's really anchoring himself in a bad way, where not in a fully bad way. I think it's just kind of he's dragging himself down a little bit. Where you do the Bat voice, and it makes it all the more harder and more difficult for you to do an impression of an impression, which again can be done right so many ways, but some again because of this, some turn out a lot better than others. Like for example, I think the Marty McFly one. It's basically pulls out this vest, basically our main image we're working with here. Pulls out the life preserver, if you will, the
Doc,
80s vest.
are you telling me you built a time machine out of a DeLorean? Doc, it's me, Marty. I know. It's me who you sent back, but now I'm back from the future.
I love that because I love those pulls. I love those. When you do a McFly impression, those are the ones you go to. That's like the Doc. Look, are you telling me you built a time machine out of a DeLorean? Here's that delivery, and just having Batman just going to give that. I'll give you that. That one just more so in the selection, just in the lines chosen. It's like, yeah, it's pretty. It's just a great pull, and I guess out of all the impressions, I think that one might come across, at least for me, again, comedy is a very subjective thing, folks. Even if this isn't grabbing us a lot of the time, I think some people will really enjoy this. But again, we've been spoiled by JGI, so maybe maybe it's not measured to our standards. I don't know. I do wonder though if Back to the Future, if the Marty McFly impression was a Katie Mary Garland pull. I wonder if that was inspired by her, given her love of Back to the Future, and how it's bled into Heightened and such.
All right, so then he whips out a whip sound effect, which just goes whip. Snakes. I hate snakes. And Dragon, I gotta tell you, that I think is pretty spot on for indie. It's like maybe a little bit more gruff than indie sound, but it's it's not bad. It's not bad.
Well, here's what cracks me up about this one. What cracks me up is the fact that again, like he thinks this is going well. I think this is going well. He thinks like, yeah, that went really well. He's just so insecure.
I mean, to me, I think the Marty one bombed personally, but then the Snake one is like, okay, it's like it's decent. Like it's not great, but it's decent.
Well, here's the thing. More so, it's the again. This is the very Will Arnett sort of Batman of it all, right here, where it's just like he's like snakes. I hate snakes. Just being very declarative about everything, like whip, just making the whip sound. It's very Lego Batman. It's
all right. So then he puts on a pirate hat, Jacob. Sorry, Dragon, and this is my favorite impression of the sketch for sure. I love this, Captain Jack. Dragon, of course, the funny thing about this is that he's just like, he's trying so hard to not go into classic Batman mode, but he just can't help himself. But where is the rum, darling? Where is the rum? And then just, cut. Where is the rum? Where is the rum? I got a kick out of that. That was fun.
I mean, here's the thing that cracks me up about it, too, is the fact that it's against Joshua Thomas literally wearing a hat. Just putting on.
Where is the rum, darling?
All right. So let's see. So then we now we're getting to kind of the bad wig category here. He puts on a bad curly wig for this one. Tiki, this one made me paranoid because I was thinking, oh my god, do you think they actually? Do you think they actually tuned in for Nickelodeon Month? Again, I know how self-aggrandizing that sounds, but it's out of all the polls,
Honestly, if they did, I'm pretty happy with how Nickelodeon Month turned out, if I'm being frank.
I just wonder if, like, of all, I'm saying in terms of the selection of this impression, I have to wonder.
The timing on this one does seem a little suspicious, I will admit.
I'm
because
saying.
we just did the Nacho Libre podcast, maybe like a week ago, not even. Yeah.
Anywho, if I want to say it was like Thursday or something, like last Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, I think it was Thursday. Yeah, Thursday
or
Friday.
Now again, I don't know how much production time went into this, but again, just given that it's a very simple, kind of straightforward shot, I don't know. Who knows? Point being, so it's not, he's doing Nacho Libre now. He puts on like a little mustache and the curly wig and a belt.
I think the missed opportunity here would be, hearing Batman try to do the Nacho.
There's actually a really funny, it'd be hilarious if they pulled it. It would have made any sense. There were a few memes from Batman the Brave and the Bold with Batman, and one of them is in an episode of Brave and the Bold. Remember, that's a more Silver Age, like a little bit more. We do everything under the sun with Batman.
Sure.
We go skill is silly, but we make it awesome. And one of them, Batman got separated into three versions of his personality: the scientific side, the angry Frank Miller side, and then just kind of the laid back side. And the laid back side was eating nachos, and basically the Frank Miller side attacked him, and he went up there. Batman does not.
So the Frank Miller side was just Crazy Steve.
In essence, it basically just goes up and says, "Batman does not eat nachos."
Oh God.
That's like kind of essentially
that
kind
sounds
of
like Crazy Steve.
Essentially, that's kind of a meme with that show. People go to the Batman does not eat nachos a lot. So, regardless, you always kind of pull that with the nacho correlation with Batman. But we do have one of my favorite deliveries from Nacho from Jack Black. Get that corn out of my face. Get that corn out of my face, big Jack Black fans. I just love the little, like, he's so nervous, just trying to justify, like, when you feel insecure about an impression, like, yeah, big Jack Black fan. All right, so then we have an SNL. Okay, so he goes to an SNL
classic, The Church Lady.
Of course, one of Dana Carvey's characters.
My personal favorite Dana Carvey character.
Here's the thing. This to me is where we're starting to kind of lean into the bombing category. When you're doing impressions of other SNL characters, other SNL alumni, that's a bad sign.
Right.
But you're doing an impression of other talented people, that's not good. So he does the church lady, and he's just like, ain't that God.
He actually does a pretty good impression of, like, well, isn't that special?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, Dragon. It's like nowadays, it's like, or I'm sorry, now in the realm of the sketch, it feels like the impressions are starting to get a little better, but like the wigs are maybe not helping.
Yep. Also, just so I can recommend something, because we so rarely talk about Dana Carvey. Again, on Hulu, folks, excellent documentary. I've told Tiki about it, and I'll tell you guys about it too. It's called Too Funny to Fail. It's about the rise and fall of the Dana Carvey show. It's a really fascinating story. It's only like an hour and a half of your time. It's really good. Okay.
All right, so this one was pretty awkward.
So, a classic Kate
McKinnon character.
The alien abductee.
Now, Dragon, I get the sense that this is just kind of making fun of Kate McKinnon's basic shtick and not an actual character.
No, I believe it's an actual character. I think.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Again, I've seen a few clips from basically like when someone like Bill Hader's on a sketch. Sometimes I'll check it out. Like when they have, it depends on who the guest. That's usually how I kind of see the modern SNL stuff. Usually,
same. Like I watched the Dave Chappelle episode, and I
like
watched
Tom Hanks. When Tom Hanks is on,
like
the Black Jeopardy thing, I'll watch that.
Yeah. Right.
Regardless, I believe I've seen her on one of those where they basically have like a sit down, like people talking about UFOs or something, like a talk show, and then they'll have the alien abductee. And I'm pretty sure that's a character. I could be just thinking of another Kate McKinnon character. I'm pretty sure that's one that she does, because it sounded familiar. So I think that's kind of the impression he's getting into here. Would you
All
like
right,
to?
well, can you explain the Kate McKinnon impression?
Basically,
Because I don't want to do it.
I guess it happened a little different for me. The aliens probed my butthole.
Oh God,
And of
yeah, that's
course,
why it's like very, very awkward.
yeah, well, again, it kind of takes me back to the Ryan Gosling funeral too. The whole like, yeah,
Oh
your
God.
butthole.
And then, of course, we kind of shift gears, lighten the mood a little bit. Hi, I'm Bobby Moynihan.
That's never a good sign. You have to say the name with the impression. It's just, well, yeah, to me is the most desperate sound. Like, okay, this is.
Although, I will say, again, we're mixing desperation with a legitimately pretty decent impression.
Yeah, it is, but again, like, hi, it's Bobby Moynihan. We're gonna you have to say it so people
I'm
know who
Bobby
you are.
Moynihan.
But still, I don't. No, here's what we. The next one is actually the legit impression here because one Josh Johnson we know for a fact does a really good impression of this next one. Bernie
We'll
Sanders.
get to it when we get to Thanksgiving.
We will. We absolutely will. You're probably wondering why I haven't gotten to it. Saving it for a special occasion.
Yes, yes. So, but the joke is that, hi, uh, I'm Bernie Sanders. But the joke is that it sounds like either Bernie Sanders or Larry David. Take your pick. We need to go after the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. Bernie Sanders, Larry David, you choose.
Now, Tiki, just in case you're unaware, Larry David does an impression of he does the Bernie Sanders impression on SNL.
I was aware.
Sorry, so that's what I'm saying. It's kind of a little bit of the one they do look remarkably similar, but also it's the
They
fact Larry
do
David.
look remarkably similar.
Larry David does he almost does a better Sanders than Sanders, one could argue. Oh man, I love Curb Your
All right, then
Enthusiasm.
really quickly we get Batman doing Heath Ledger Joker. Why
with
so
with a Jared
serious?
with the Jared Leto wig up, mind you.
Right, right. And
Why so
then
serious?
yeah, and that's it, right?
Yes, that's it. Then he's going into it. Okay, so I'm 5'10". I'm repped by, and it like then we add it to the dun dun.
Did it, did it, did it, did it.
We have a really well put together some kind of tag gag, if you will, where we have Josh Stone's like pointing over there, and everything pops up right on cue, and he's wearing the Harley Quinn, the Joker versus the Real World shirt, which is pretty nice.
Mhm.
And then we just have like kind of the coda at the end where Josh is removing the mask. Just, it gets really hot under this mask too by the cows, so he just removes that. He's
I bet it does, yeah.
laughing his head off after just kind of riffing for a while.
All
And yeah,
right,
that's all she
final
wrote.
thoughts, Dragon.
Well, final thoughts from me. Look, it's not the most polished of the JGI works for sure, but in all fairness, again, it's an audition before it's a sketch. At the end of the day, to audition, it's kind of a satire on auditions before it's a sketch, more accurately. Like to me, it comes across as something silly in the interim. Again, while we're kind of waiting for the bigger, more grandiose sketches like the Robo-Stitute or like basically some of the short films that they're going to get ready to do on JGI, and of course like Harley Quinn, the Joker, but also just other sketches as well, some other stuff they have coming out in the interim. Again, sketches we don't know about. I think Katie Mary Garland's involved in a few sketches coming up. I'm not entirely sure. I remember that being kind of teased up a little bit. I can't remember what exactly it was, but maybe a few heightens as well. Point being, I wouldn't go to this as something that would reflect the usual standards of JGI. I wouldn't like say this like, hey, check out JGI and give them this sketch. I really wouldn't do that. It,
Yeah, yeah.
it's kind of a look. It's a been there, done that concept, but inherently in the premise of what they're going for here, it is on the money for what they're going for. Now we're taking kind of the SNL audition gag, we're kind of doing it through Just Giggle, doing one of the performers there, and doing it with Batman, which I think has limited them because if you want to do a Batman voice, then there is kind of the Batman voice, sure. But
All right.
I'm just not crazy about it. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen on JJ. I'm just not crazy about it.
So yeah, I just wanted to show off that I did indeed buy this shirt. I'm not joking about it. Dragon, I'm wearing this shirt to Not Scary Farm, my friend.
Hmm.
Yeah. I've been looking for a shirt to wear to Not Scary Farm. Anyways. All right. So yeah, let me just switch back to the screen share. I think I'm a little bit more forgiving about this one than you are, just because I can kind of see how it is just kind of a trial run for an improv concept. Basically, it's not really a full sketch, so I'm not really judging it as a full sketch. And I don't have like the attachment to Batman that you do, so I feel like it's like, I feel like I can digest the concept a little easier. But that being said, it's still not very funny. I mean, I thought the Jack Sparrow thing was funny. I would like to see more of that. Basically, I'm not exactly sure what the direction of this is trying to be. Like, is it trying to be a bombed audition? Is it trying to be an example of like Batman is actually really good at impressions, but the joke is that you can't take him seriously because he's Batman? Is it trying to be like just kind of a more baseline, just make fun of Batman trying to do bad impressions?
The Banner team.
What?
Banner.
Oh, Banner. Right. Okay. Sorry. You get what I'm saying though. It's I feel like this sketch doesn't really have a mission statement to it, and that kind of bothers me. It's not really trying to say anything.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I do. Again, I'm not harshly judging it either. I just want to be clear on that. It's not a go-to for JGI by any stretch. Yeah.
All right. Well, still, we were able to get this out live. Quick turnaround on it after it uploaded onto the channel. So still pretty proud of that, even though it's not the best sketch. And I guess that's about it. Dragon, take us out.
Don't forget, folks. Next couple grab bags, they're going to be within the saga of Sagar.
Soccer just perks up like these guys better not screw me over this time.
Sagar, I'll tell you, unless JGI pulls another rabbit out of their head like this one, you're in the clear, my friend. You're in the clear. And basically, if a sketch comes up, blame Joshua. Send your angry letters to Joshua Thomas. We're gonna get to you, my friend. Believe me, we got you all worked out, buddy. What we do, we're gonna do some deep dives into Sagar. We will. Promise.
All right.
Anywho, that does it for now until the next exciting reach into the Just Giggle It grab bag.
Where is the rum, darling?
Built a time machine?